Hello everyone, Prince Tutorial here, back with another video on the Jade Court, and today we're diving deep into the Matters of State mechanic. Buckle up, because we're about to unlock some serious strategic potential. Our goal with this mechanic is simple. We want to acquire 4 fortress cities and commercial districts as quickly as possible. Why is that? Because each time we create one of these, be it a fortress city or a commercial district, we're rewarded with an extra stone or steel, allowing us to unlock more options and strengthen our empire doing so. To kick things off, we'll focus on our first 4 actions. The reason being, these actions cost 2 steel and 2 stones, making an addition to 4 very easily, so we can balance things out here very easily. You can use this as stepping stones and kind of bounce it back of each other to create 4 steel and 4 stone according to your decision and your strategic output. Now, if we look at Yuan Bo's starting location, we can see that in Lustria we don't have super valuable resources early on. Pahuax has medicinal plants, which gives us vigor loss reduction, and Hexawaddle up here in the north has gold, which gives us income from mines and quarries plus 10% faction wide. Now, these are good effects, but they're not super interesting in the early game. So we understand we have to take a strategic decision here. And the better decision is to create a fortress city in the Isle of the Crimson Skull. This way, we need to understand that we need to convert the 2 stones that we start with to 2 steels, creating 4 steel in total, so we can create a fortress city. Once we understand that, our priority is to rush growth to tier 3 on the Isle of the Crimson Skull, and ensure we have 4 steel by the time that the Isle of the Crimson Skull reaches tier 3. Now the key here is the execution. We could take the lazy route and hoard steel until we hit tier 3 by simply using either crackdown or rush construction. This way we will convert 2 stone into 2 steel, creating a 4 steel total, so we can select Fortress City. But the Isle of the Crimson Skull is not going to be in tier 3 yet. So the better option is to use this strategically every few turns and perform actions in the meantime so we can benefit from their mechanic. So both strategies have their merits, but the second one obviously has more flexibility and is more efficient, but you can use both. Once we have our first fortress city established, the snowball starts rolling. Now we have 4 stone and 1 steel pending. Our next mission is to establish a commercial district. Now this time, let's lock our sights on Cathay. Now, if you expand in Cathay and take the lands right here, you should be neighboring Nongchang. You can confederate the faction owning Nongchang or attack it and conquer it by yourself. And this is a great place to create your first commercial district. Reason being, the city has pastures, and those pastures, when fully upgraded, grant us with 5 growth all provinces. Another good option would be to take Shi Wu, and Shi Wu has obsidian, which grants us plus 7 power reserve capacity to all armies. Now that we've established 1 fortress city and 1 commercial district, we should be having 6 total tokens. Now we can create a cycle that we want to emulate every couple of turns. We want to conquer new territory, grow it to tier 3 by focusing the growth on the province capitals, make more fortress cities and more commercial districts until we have 4 commercial districts and fortress cities in total. That's where you've maxed out the system, because you will have 4 tokens of steels and 4 tokens of stones. And this is the maximum that you can gain in a campaign. At this point, you would probably expect, after unlocking all the actions, that the rest of the actions here are super valuable, since they cost more steel and stone. But frankly, they're not. You'd be more wise to keep producing more fortress cities and more commercial districts than spend your super valuable steel and stone on these actions. But, since I don't expect you to believe me blindly, let's go over them real quick. Levy the Provinces is super useful in the early game to boost your recruitment power and as a stepping stone to get more stone. Crackdown. Super useful in the early game to cleanse the vampiric corruption out of the Celestial River. These provinces right here, which are controlled by vampires in the early game. Or cleaning the chaos corruption in Skeggy if you go and hit north and you want to conquer those lands. Structure operation. Now this one is okay, nothing too interesting. Guaranteed success chance on your next hero action. I mostly use this one to convert 2 steel into 2 stone. Rush construction. This one is amazing. Once you hit a new tier on your capital, you can start constructing a lot of different constructions and you can complete them with one click. So you can save yourself 10 turns of constructions. This one is super overpowered if you know how to exploit it effectively. Astromantic Boon. Now, this one gives us a lot of bonuses on magic. It's very valuable, but it's only for one army. And I would rather create a commercial district with a city that has obsidian, and I would have that permanently to all armies, at least for the power reserve part. For the cooldown and the magic cost, I can understand why it's appealing, but I don't value it that much. If you create more commercial districts with more obsidian, you will have plenty of power reserves and you wouldn't need the magic cost reduction, making this redundant. Commission the artisans. Now, this one creates 4 magic items and ancillaries. Frankly, just keep playing the game and you will get those items either way. I wouldn't waste valuable resources on this. Diplomatic deadlock. Being immune to trespassing is nice, but you shouldn't be trespassing that much in Cathay. And if you're trespassing, that means that you're already in at war or wanting to get to war with someone. So not super valuable. Harmonic restructuring. Now this one really puzzles me. If you know how to build your Cathay provinces right, you shouldn't be using this at all because it really switches between the yin and yang variants wherever possible. Frankly, you can do that in the construction panel either way, so a waste of time. Supply line operations. Now, this one has very good effects, but then again, it's only for one army. And sorry that I'm doing this again. If you create another fortress city, you would gain plus 10 ammunition all armies faction wide, and those plus 50% ammunition on just one army is not valuable as much as 10% more to all armies. Commercial district, I really recommend you watch my previous video on commercial district and fortresses if you haven't, because these two buttons right here are the most overpowered actions in this whole matters of state mechanic. Really amazing, good bonuses, super valuable. Masters of the Jade Court. This one targets one lord and gives it 5,000 experience. Frankly, just get him more involved in more battles. He will gain those experience points. He doesn't need this effect. Reserved conscription. Now, this one takes one settlement garrison and deploys it as an army on the map. It would be nice if it couldn't just get constant attrition, but frankly speaking, this is a waste of time. Mask of Jade. Now, this one is very useful in the late game for resetting diplomacy after betraying your allies. It really reminds me of Men in Black memory wiping device, so it's super funny, as if you've never uh, betrayed anyone. Just everyone forgets your mistakes and your reliability gets back to very high. So this one is nice, but it's useful in the late game, so I wouldn't prioritize using it. Celestial Intervention. Now, all those bonuses are nice, but then again, it targets only one army, and it's not super valuable, so I would skip it. Celestial Emissary. Now, this one is really awesome. It summons a super strong Astromancer. I actually have him here in my Yuan bow campaign. His trait is Stormy, which gives you minus 10% cooldown to all spells and 10% ward save. Now, if you equip this Astromancer with the right equipment and the right ancillaries, he can really keep casting spells indefinitely with infinite winds of magic. This one is crazy. I even think that Legend of Total War featured him in a Doom stack. I'll try to find it and link it somewhere in the video. Foreign stratagem. Now, this one targets an army belonging to a neutral or an allied faction, and you can take control over this army. Now, this one is very redundant, so if I'm already allied with the faction, why would I need this action? I would just borrow an army using the alliance points. And a neutral faction, okay, nothing major. If this was taking control over a rival army, that would have been interesting and maybe worth the steel points, but it's not. So I would skip it. Fiscal treaties. Now, this one siphons money from a faction for 20 turns. Whenever you have these 6 stone tokens, you should be swimming in gold. So this one is really unimpressive to say the least. Meteor Gambit. Now, this one is as overpowered as it sounds, resetting your movement range for all armies in the faction is crazy. And this one is really super overpowered. Amazing bonus, but I don't use it that much because Cathay is a very strong faction. So, as you can see in my campaign right here, I'm turn 92 and I have 166 settlements owned, 56 provinces owned. You shouldn't be needing to use this. Okay, last but not least, now for the balanced actions. Battle Harmony Supremacy. Now this one makes one army. All the units count as both yin and yang. Now, frankly, I don't understand it. It's really an abysmal bonus because most Katean armies typically consist of both yin and yang units. So this bonus is really unnecessary. Now, if you have armies that are just yin or just yang, they're probably doomstack. So I wouldn't use this bonus. And to the jewel in the crown, command the lesser courts. Now, this action is really a scam. It was advertised to provide permanent bonuses in the previous patches. Now, as you can see, they've corrected it. Now, whenever you choose this one, you get a choice between 4 different set of bonuses. And let me tell you, they are underwhelming. They include different things like sell value of cargo, diplomatic relations, replenishment in foreign territory, magic item drop chance, defense supplies, unit experience, lord recruit rank, research rate, upkeep cost, construction time reduction, etc., etc. But frankly, whenever you look at it, you understand that those bonuses last only 10 turns. Now, why am I mentioning that? Because all the bonuses created by commercial districts and fortress cities are permanent. They're not here for 10 turns and they vanish. So let's say that you saw one of the bonuses in Command the Lesser Court and it's appealing to you. Let's say it's the plus 40 growth. You would rather have 4 stone and 4 steel being used on a bonus that is 10 turns rather than create 2 or 3 commercial district with either salt and pastures and to have them permanently on your map. Now, let's say for another example that you're really keen to have the minus 10% upkeep costs. Again, this bonus is for 10 turns. And if you create fortress cities in your gates, you should be able to get those minus 10% upkeep costs permanently, not for 10 turns. Now, let's say again that the magic item drop chance is really appealing to you. Again, you could create a commercial district on cities that have gems, and you would gain those magic item drop chance permanently. I assume that you got my point by now. Now that you've seen all the different actions, I hope that you're sold on the idea that creating more fortress cities and more commercial district is the best choice you can do in this mechanic. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you had a great time. If you have any comments or suggestions for the next video, please hit me up in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and see you again in the future. Bye bye, guys.